Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. And welcome also to my amazing guest, Roselyn Perez, all the way from Florida.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. So, guys, this is Create with Franz, which means to create the life that you want by using NLP, hypnosis, vision boards, coaching, and all sorts of neuroscience based techniques and modalities. And today we have quite the experts because Roselyn, who is originally from Puerto Rico, is very good with this. She had an experience after the other and she learned through her training as a social worker how our brain works. And my studying NLP, studying psychology, studying neuroscience, she understood all the connections that there are between what happens in our childhood and what happens today as an adult, which is creating very often some limiting beliefs. So today we're going to see how Roselyn herself overcame a little bit of a stuck limiting belief about money and wealth, this fear that we have of having money, being independent. And it's sometimes very much connected to what happened socially, so social conditioning, and is also based on the core beliefs that we had as a child. So, if you're listening to this episode and you think, should I listen longer? Right. Do you have a problem that you think everyone else is earning more than you and you don't know why? Can you not go forward in your career? You are stuck. Are you unable to charge people enough for your service and you keep working just as a mission to help others, but you're not earning because you're not charging enough, or you're working so many hours for free? And sometimes this is a case that comes from here, what you believe about yourself. So let's get Roselyn to talk and to see what is the neurological cost of exchanging authenticity for money and how can we rewire our nervous system so that we can break free from all these cycles that we are carrying since we were little children. So let's get started. What is the issue that you were having and that many of your clients were having?
Oh, yeah, I've done so much work with different populations, which has been so helpful in broadening my expertise in many areas in life. However, I've noticed one common denominator in many of the issues, and is the lack of self-awareness. But you know what? I wasn't exempt from it. When I decided to go on my journey as an entrepreneur, that's when my self-awareness revealed to me my challenges with money. Because for me, I was high achiever, high performing. Anything that I set my mind to achieve, I did it. However, it was through an employer, right? So as an entrepreneur, I'm sorry, as a therapist, I worked with so many different populations. I worked with community mental health. I worked with medical settings, military population, child development, anything that I set my mind to. And entrepreneurship was the next milestone for me. And it revealed so much about my relationship with money beyond I had awareness from. And something that I would love for your listeners to know and to stick around because this is worth having a conversation is that right now, the current financial situation that you're in is created by you. And this is very difficult for many people to comprehend and digest because they genuinely do not feel that it's up to them. Because if they say, but if it was up to me, then I will be rich, I will have so many different things in my life. Yet we're here to talk about how your nervous system and your neurology listens most and pay attention most to your subconscious beliefs. And this is so interesting because if you grew up having certain beliefs around money, such as money doesn't grow on trees, that you have to work hard, guess what's going to happen if money comes easy to you in a legit way? You're just simply not going to accept it. You're going to like question it
Mm.
and you're going to start thinking, what is this expecting from me? Right? Because that it's going to trigger your nervous system. And this is just an example of how I was able to see beyond this for myself. Because for me, in order for me to get something, I needed to work hard. I needed to really put all of the effort and blood and sweat. And whenever someone came to me asking me for my services, I would just like catch myself like, okay, but what is it that you want? What did you really like? Do you feel that you want to work with this? And I was just like putting my own barriers and I was doing that. And this is the incredible thing without the awareness that I was repealing opportunities in my life away.
Did you say the word repealing?
Yes, I was subconsciously repealing this. And something that I can share with you in this entrepreneurial journey, so interesting, is that there was this event that
Hmm.
I from a coach that I follow and I just like love her content. And she happened to announce that she was going to give these free tickets for her event. She was going to raffle or something like that. And I put down in my journey that I'm gonna win this and I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna manifest and so on. But I was already aware of my nervous system and all of the everything that I've been sharing with you guys. I was already aware of that. You know what? I won the tickets. And I was like, yes, I manifested. But you know what happened next? My mind started, my nervous system, my subconscious beliefs started to show up. Do you really want to do this? Or like, but now, but you have to pay because the event wasn't in the city, in the state that I was in. I'm like, but now you have to spend the money on the ticket and also the hotel, the air ticket and so on. And me being aware of this, I just let it go. But paying attention to my body, I was just questioning the nervousness, my heart beating fast. Do you really want to spend this money on this? And it's so interesting. It's so interesting and we're not aware of that. And many people dismiss the physical reactions and the emotional piece and they just follow that rational mind saying, you know what, but I know the tickets were free, but I'm not going to spend that much money on the air, on the flight or on a hotel and so on. And this is how we repel things. We repeal things, opportunities in our lives. And this was, I end up going, and it has been one of the best events I've ever attended in my life. It changed the core of me. And this is just an example of how we miss opportunities if we're not aware of our nervous system and how these beliefs that were born at a childhood moment in our lives plays a role. Does this make sense?
Yes, and I'm thinking, how will the audience react to this? Because maybe we are not trained to go deep inside ourselves. We tend to do we can make a decision and then we have second thoughts, which is the inner chatter that comes through, isn't it? It's a little negative committee, which I've quoted like 20 times in 5 years of podcasting. And these negative committees are going on. Why would you do that? You're not good enough. How are you wasting your time and your money? Your wife is going to be mad. Your husband is going to tell you off. You're going to get nothing. And then once you listen to that, it becomes bigger. And then by not going, you feel protected and safe. And you feel, that's so good. And it's always a cycle, isn't it, of doubt in all your capacity. And sometimes this comes from how we are wired when we were young, when our parents maybe were always poor and they thought that's how it's going to be. Or maybe the parents were very wealthy, but they doubted our capacity to go forward. They had to rescue us all the time. They are helicopter parents. Have you found any core belief that damages our relationship with money that is particularly frequent in your clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And absolutely something before, because I know that we're talking about money, but to your subconscious, money equates to safety.
Hmm.
And the relationship that we have with our environment when it comes to feeling safe is at the foundation of our relationship with money. However, we rarely really tap into that place because of our rational minds. So we come as adults, we prioritize our rational mind and our and the beliefs and our conscious minds. However, that's only 5% of our brain. So I'm saying this just to bring it back to the core because that's like you said, the work where it needs to be done, it's rarely done. And it all starts from that childhood place Neurologically, what we're doing is surviving, and where everything
Hmm.
is new. So the brain is hyper vigilant on safety, on experimenting whether is this okay, is this not okay, and that's how we're living for the first years of our lives. And you know what? Our brains do not see as safety. Any situation, regardless if it's traumatic or not, if it's traumatic, it's even more intense. But regardless of trauma or not, any situation that makes us feel either rejected, humiliated, abandoned, betrayed, or unworthy, it becomes ingrained in our fight, flight, freeze response as not being safe. And
Hmm.
as for a person, I want this toy, but my parents are so, so, so poor that I never get to have everything that my little heart desire. Children does not comprehend the concept of money the same way that adult does. They can easily, but easily just interpret that situation as I don't deserve it because I see other children having it, yet I don't get to have it. So
Right.
I'm not worthy of having that. And that core belief just gets cemented and ingrained in our subconscious. And then we start incorporating rationalization as we grow as adults. And two things could happen. We can either, as adults, because people that make money are not exempt of this, we can either say, you know what, I'm not going to spend money on that. That's the unworthiness. Or, you know what, I'm going to spend everything because I didn't get to have it. Because people can easily get the sense of worth by I get to buy everything. Yet it becomes rooted in survival. Because if they don't get to buy that, then they feel that they are unworthy. So when these wounds are unchecked, it leads people to relate to money at a survival level. And it doesn't matter how much money you have or not. If you don't have awareness around this, and it's
Yeah.
going to have so much power over you. And I see this so often with many of my clients, and including myself. I just get to see beyond what people automatically rationalize and dismiss.
That is so true. You know, what I was thinking when you were saying that is that the people who now are doing very well financially tend to be very often men who are raised differently in certain countries where there is more focus on learning maybe financial education, which is a taboo in lots of places. But also there are disruptors and innovators who understand what needs to change, and they create small companies, and then they get really good, and then more companies, and they grow, and they come up with these amazing ideas and make the company become good, well known, trusted, and is making lots of money. And this can happen in as little as 12 months. What is the difference between these creators and innovators, especially now in times of artificial intelligence that will take away so many jobs? The difference is that they believe in themselves and they're willing to put the risk. But another thing is they're not in fight or flight, right? Because when you are in a period of stress that you're just trying to survive, but you don't really believe in yourself, you don't believe in taking any risk, you don't believe that your ideas are going to be worth it, how can you then become this new person in the economy? We might have people listening here that are 20 years old. They want to make it into the world. But if you don't believe in yourself because you had a very sad childhood, maybe abuse, neglect, or maybe your parents were extremely beautiful, they overpraised you, so you don't believe praise. So you don't believe in yourself. Whatever the thing is, we really had to come back and say, well, what are all these filters that we have that are stopping me from trying a new idea, stopping me to go with a mentor, a person that is 2 or 3 steps ahead of me, and learn how to earn the money? Because nowadays, with a modern society, the school is not designed anymore for the society where we're in. The school was designed in war times when people were working in factories or 9 to 5 jobs. Now everything is being wiped. Just like the advent of the internet in the 80s and 90s has wiped a lot of jobs, now with AI, either you embrace it or you're just going to be out,
Yep.
because AI is going to be in the washing machine, it's going to be in your car, it's going to be in your microphone, it's going to be everywhere. So when we ignore this stuff thinking, well, you know what, I'm just happy with my 9 to 5 because I really don't have a courage to leave my job. I don't have a courage to get back to university or to an apprenticeship and learn. I don't think I'm clever enough for that. I'm too old. I'm 40. I'm just turned 60 and I'm like, I'm always on in this moment, I'm on 5 courses. 5,
Yes.
including psychology, advanced photography, and all sorts. Because for me, it's always learn, 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 learn. But some people think, no, my parent always told me I'm not really clever, so it must be true. Because deep down, that's what they think. So really analyzing your behavior. What is stopping you from taking the next step, from getting a
Yeah.
better paid job or even getting a job that is not even well paid, but is giving you what you really want? And is always deep inside here. Isn't that incredible?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I genuinely believe that the key to really thriving in life is really spend time in growing your self-awareness and learning from others, because how can you I describe self-awareness to my clients as if you were walking with a spider on your back but you don't even know that it's there, but then you feel the itch yet and you're like, oh, it hurts but I don't know what's happening, but you don't take the time and the effort to get a mirror and look at the back of your, like, what is it that's going on there,
Right.
right? So it's gonna hurt, and without self-awareness you're just trapped by your survival brain. And your financial situation is no exempt. And I like to put it in this example. Have you ever, think about this, have you ever met anyone that may not be in a healthy relationship and you see the signs so clear? Why is this person over and over and over in toxic relationships? And you can see how this person are constantly dismissing those signs. And you're like, they're complaining, they're suffering, yet it's so easy if she would set boundaries or he would set boundaries then or do XYZ. It's no difference with our finances because opportunities are always there. Like you said, for people that are innovators, they have to have a certain connection with their nervous system, with their body. And that's the thing. We spend too much focus on our rational brain.
Mm.
Yet the most powerful part of our entire body is our emotions, because they are wired in our body and they carry so much information about our memories, about ourselves. And then you use your rational brain to give commands through that consciousness. But without it, without that self-awareness, without knowing if you have an argument with a loved one, where does that reflect in your body? People don't know how to answer that. But it does. If you take the time to sit down whenever a situation happens for you to reflect and ask, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? And doing that with your bank account. Many people, many clients do not want to look at their bank account because it makes them feel nervous. Or many clients cannot go by one day
Mm.
without looking at their bank account because they are looking for this reassurance of safety that my money is there. And
Mm.
that is founded in survival. And
Right.
that is at the foundation, it's a scarcity mindset. And this is going to dictate your life if you're not aware, if you don't work with your self-awareness around your finances.
Mm.
And it's going to trigger your authenticity. It's going to impact your authenticity because in reality, we're talking about money, but it's still rooted in those wounds that I was mentioning earlier. You're trying to belong, you're trying to be accepted, to be loved, not feel abandoned. Yet, because you don't believe that you deserve those things, then you would shift your focus to safety through money, but yet you're going to manifest those fears in your life by, like you said, keep I want to make sure that, well, I have a 9 to 5 job, or for clients that I work, I don't have time for relationships, right? Because then I have to open up myself and then I have to give control away. And they are very successful and, like, financially speaking, yet they feel alone.
Well, that's the thing. You might even have these blogs, and yet you might be wealthy and with a apparently happy family, but deep down something is boiling and then there could be a crisis. So, as we are like on 21 minutes through the podcast, let's move to the tip. Do you have any tips for all these poor people that are there and they are trapped in this emotional block where either emotionally or financially they cannot get
Yeah.
where they want?
So my tip is something that many people think about whether they want to do that or not. But hear me out, because if you decide to make the choice to follow up with this tip, your life will transform. Before I go into the tip, I want to say that positive affirmations, meditation, breathing exercises, journaling, all of those things are so powerful, yet they are not enough. They're not enough if you're not connecting with your particular belief system. And for many people, they engage in positive affirmations and they change their belief systems and it helps them. It's just that it's a longer path, it's a longer route. And you will have days where you feel like, oh, I don't know about today, right? Because if anything happened in your environment that trigger that belief system, guess what? It's going to trigger. So to go to the tip, increase your self-awareness in four areas: your emotions, and you can use the wheel of emotions because sometimes we don't know our vocabulary when it comes to emotions. People know mostly five emotions, but there's so many. There are hundreds of emotions. So get the wheel of emotions and ask yourself regularly on a daily basis, what is it that I'm feeling? What's the emotion? Based on the situations that you experience, anything that triggers you, okay, what's the emotion? And tap into that.
Mm.
Make a connection also the other area with your physical body. Where am I experiencing this emotion? What is the thought? That's the third tip, that it's also happening at simultaneously on this. And the fourth, what's the behavior? What is it that I'm doing? Am I shutting down? For me, it was apathy, and I will isolate. And then I would say that I'm not feeling anything, I'm good. But then I needed to, I was very avoidant. That was it for me. When I became overwhelmed, I shut down. Apathy, no emotion. In my thought, I'm perfectly fine. So I shut it down, the opportunity for my subconscious brain to flourish and give me the idea. And then I would just like push everyone away. And then I will complain about feeling lonely. So
Hmm.
the tip is really aligning all of those areas, and you will get so much access about yourself, and that will translate into a choice, because once you know, then you get to make the choice, what am I going to do with this? If it's emotion, self-soothe. If it's body, also self-regulate. For emotions, look into the opposite. If it's sadness, happiness, and so on. And then just like improving that skill when mapping your emotions and your life in that sense.
Thank you. Now,
You're
with
welcome.
this tip, there is so much that we can do and really think deep down what's going on. Is there another tip before I go to the end?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you have another tip before I go and summarize what we've done?
Oh, absolutely. In addition to all of these, also incorporate what I was talking about earlier, the journaling, the breathing exercises, and meditation. There are so many different resources out there, but in combination with this tip that I provided, it will translate into transformation to your life.
That's brilliant. And remember, journaling isn't just for women to do pretty drawings, it's for everyone, from teenagers onwards. So that's great because we learn so much stuff here. So, to summarize, when we realize what is the connection between our financial situation and our problems in accepting movement, change, shifting to a better position, we are then in a situation of more power because we think, I know what is the problem. And now we are shifting from fight or flight to awareness, to calm, to peace and to know, okay, maybe I need a little bit of help. Maybe that's a time to go to a coach, to a therapist, to a counselor, and to really discuss those feelings because it really hurts to admit to yourself that something is blocking you. But when you have another person talking to you and they're bouncing, like a bouncy board, you're reflecting what you're saying as we do with NLP, and then you realize, oh, is that the story I've been telling myself over all my life? And such an eye-opening moment. So that
It
is
is.
a good time to say, well, maybe I can invest in myself. Oh, well, I don't deserve that. That's what people say. I don't deserve it. But actually, it could be that just in 1 or 2 sessions, most people have that movement and they start feeling differently about their life. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to talk to Roselyn about this, so make your investment into wealth consciousness, that's what you call it, Roselyn. Then you
Yes.
go to insightfulessence.com. We're going to put the links below in case you lose them. And so that's a nice time for you to look at your new goals. What do you want from yourself? Maybe this financial stability actually equates into emotional peace and contentment. There is something there. So I'm very happy to have brought here Roselyn Perez all the way from very nice and sunny Florida. So I want to thank you so much for being here
You're
with us
welcome.
today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And this has been so amazing. Please always reach out. Always reach out for help. You don't have to do things on your own. And yes, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity.
It's always so good for me because I learn so much from all the people that I interview. So I get free advice all the time. Yoo-hoo! So
See? Yes.
right? So if you want, you can share this episode, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can, let your people know about it. Post it on Facebook and say, hey, guess what I'm listening to? And this is such a great piece of advice. And we can do it straight away. You don't have to pay for it. You can just go there and get started today. And this is the mission of my podcast to get you advice you can use straight away to change your life, to create the life that you want, because we're all different. We all want something
Yes.
different. One person might want to be in a little island in an atoll in the Pacific and they're happy. Another person wants a mansion. And then there's all in between. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you want to fulfill your dream, you have to start from your emotions. Regulate your immune system, regulate your homeostasis in the brain so it's all good, regulate those core beliefs and your neuroscience part so that you are not acting in fear but acting with this empowerment, a sense of knowing where you are, living in the present. Because
Yeah.
if you are stuck with those beliefs, you are living in the past. So let us not hold that past and giving too much importance. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye.